Utensils hygiene is an important thing and influential to the food quality. Dirty utensils could cause microorganisms or germs left on the utensils and multiply, so it will contaminate the food. And like the other cutlery, only washing it by water is not enough to remove microorganisms or bacteria that are left on it. Please refer to the following explanation. Clean and Well Pack Indonesia has gone ATP testing on its products, which contains Weltouch inside, with the aim of proving that products from Clean and Well Pack Indonesia can eliminate bacteria, fungals, viruses, and also odors. ATP is an abbreviation of adenosine triphosphate, which means the molecules of any living organisms such as animals, plants, microorganisms, etc. ATP can indicate the presence of living organisms. Therefore, the amount of ATP are proportional to the number of pollutants, including the presence of bacteria. These two tools are a kit for measuring ATP. UltraSnap is a tool used to take ATP samples on the surface of an item. Furthermore, there is a CleanQ, which is a portable ATP measuring device, which works to detect ATP compounds that produced by living things to get a direct and reliable analysis result. Basically, ATP are very small molecules such as bacteria, viruses, or microorganisms, which is found in a media that cannot be eliminated by simply cleaning or washing with water alone. The test result on an item surface proved that there are high amounts of ATP. This means that there are a number of bacteria or living things on that surface. After the surface was cleaned using water and retested for the ATP test, the results of the ATP test did not decrease and almost same with the test conditions before cleaning with water. This proves that water alone cannot remove ATP or bacteria, viruses, microorganisms, etc. You can see that contaminants can be removed with ordinary water, but bacteria cannot be decomposed. The Home Clean Care product is a product that can decompose bacteria by coating a Weltouch function on a product without a Weltouch function. When the Weltouch function is included in the product, contaminants are removed and bacteria are decomposed. You can see the following series of tests. The next test was conducted at a restaurant table, and the results showed that there were 731 ATP numbers on the table. This time we use Home Clean Care products on a napkin, to a coating ratio of 1:9, 20 milliliters of Home Clean Care liquid and 180 milliliters of water. Rinse the napkin and then dry it first. Then the test is conducted again on a napkin that has been coated with a ratio of 1:9. In order to save on the use of Home Clean Care, we use a ratio of 1 hour 99 minutes when we want to use the napkin. The second test is conducted to prove whether the 1 hour 99 minutes ratio is effective or not for removing bacteria. And the test results showed the number of ATP dropped very drastically to 6. This proves that a napkin that has been coated with 1N9 and then recoated with 1N99 can also be effective in removing bacteria, viruses, and fungi. If we used a regular napkin as a test tool, this time we will use the Weltouch Inside Wipe napkin, which has been coated previously with a ratio of 1:9. For this reason, the first test is conducted on the surface of the baby chair. And the result is that there are 419 ATP in that object. Furthermore, if you want to use the napkin to coat a surface, just use a 1:99 ratio with 5 milliliters of Home Clean Care liquid and 495 milliliters of water. The second test is conducted again on the surface of the baby chair. The test results show that the amount of ATP has decreased drastically to 0. This proves that Weltouch Inside Wipe napkin with 1N99 Home Clean Care coating effectively removes bacteria. So, are unclean cutlery dangerous and can cause organisms or germs? We are Clean and Wellpack Indonesia and have already done ATP test series on several objects. This is a test video showing that the function of the Weltouch inside towel works both in dry and wet conditions. First test is conducted on utensil cutlery from restaurants such as spoon, fork, and chopsticks. First test result on utensil cutlery has 510 ATP. This proves that there are organisms that live on the surface of utensils. Next, we applied the Weltouch inside product to the test object. This time we used the Weltouch inside wipe napkin product on the fork and spoon, while the chopsticks were rubbed using Weltouch inside towel. Followed by the third test on chopsticks after being rubbed with Weltouch inside towel, it can be seen that the ATP results also dropped very drastically to 51. Followed by the third test on chopsticks after being rubbed with Weltouch inside wet tissues, it can be seen that the ATP results also dropped very drastically to 51. This proves that both products from Clean and Wellpack is proven to remove organisms or bacteria on the utensils. Next, we did an ATP test on 3 eggs that we had just bought at the convenience store. We were quite surprised because the amount of ATP found was very high, 6056. This time we used 3 products from Clean and Wellpack, which are Weltouch inside wipe napkin, Weltouch inside towel dry and wet. The second test is conducted on eggs that are already being rubbed with Weltouch inside towel. The test result proves that ATP number has dropped drastically to 2. The third test on egg that is already being rubbed by Weltouch inside wipe napkin, and the test result shows ATP number that dropped drastically into 11. Furthermore, the fourth test on eggs that had been rubbed with Weltouch inside towel, the test results showed that the amount of ATP also decreased drastically to 9. This shows that the 3 products from Clean and Wellpack is proven to remove bacteria. Furthermore, we also conduct tests on tableware and baby toys. Preliminary tests showed a fairly high amount of ATP at 571. The test stage is continued by washing baby tableware with water. This test aims to prove whether water can remove organisms or bacteria. The second test was conducted again on equipment that had been washed with water. The results prove that there are 463 bacteria. It is proven that water cannot remove bacteria. Next, we used Weltouch inside towel to coat the baby's bottle and toys. The test was conducted again after the application of the object with Weltouch inside towel. The test results showed that the amount of ATP decreased to 14. We will do a comparison between Weltouch inside towel and regular wet inside towel and regular wet tissue. For this reason, an initial ATP test was carried out, and the test results showed that there was 2005 on the surface of the chest of drawers. This is a very high result. After the drawers were divided into 2 parts, we then applied Weltouch inside towel and regular wet tissues on each side. A second ATP test was conducted on a drawer that had been rubbed with a regular wet tissue. The test results proved that there were 2013 bacteria in that part of the shelf. The third ATP test was conducted again on a drawer that had been rubbed with Weltouch inside towel. The test results proved that there were 3 bacteria in that part of the drawer. It can be concluded that the wet tissue product from Clean and Well Pack, which contains Weltouch inside, is effective in removing bacteria drastically. Next, we also tried an ATP test on freshly purchased pears. To find out if there were organisms on the surface of the fruit, we did an initial ATP test. The test results showed that there were 480 bacteria on the pear surface. To simplify the fruit comparison process, it was divided into 2 parts, then the 2 test subjects were applied, namely Weltouch inside towel and regular wet tissues. After that, the test was conducted again on pear parts that had been rubbed using regular wet tissues. The results of the ATP test showed that there were 546 bacteria. The third test was conducted on pear parts that had been rubbed with Weltouch inside towel. The results of the ATP test showed that there were 58 bacteria. This proves that Weltouch inside towel are effective in removing bacteria on fruit without having to wash it first. Basically, ATP are very small molecules such as bacteria, viruses, or microorganisms, which is found in a media that cannot be eliminated by regular wet tissue or washing with water alone. This time, for the first test, we conducted a trial on a cafe table. The ATP test was carried out on a cafe table surface. The test result on an item surface proved that there are high amounts of ATP. This means that there are a number of bacteria or living things on that surface. The cafe table surface is divided into 2 sections to perform the ATP test. After that, the surface was cleaned using regular wet tissue and Weltouch inside wet tissue for the ATP test. The ATP test was performed on the left side of the table, and there were 1308 bacteria on the left side of the table surface. Then the test on the right side of the table, the results proved that there were 9 bacteria on the right side of the table surface. This proves that normal wet tissue cannot remove ATP or bacteria, viruses, microorganisms, etc. Next, we conducted another ATP test with a different item, namely a mobile phone. The test was carried out on the surface of a mobile phone and yielded a high amount of ATP is 2041 bacteria. The surface of the mobile phone is divided into 2 parts to carry out the ATP test. After that, the surface of the mobile phone is cleaned using normal wet tissue and Weltouch inside wet tissue. The results of the test on the mobile phone this time have the same conclusion as the test on the previous cafe table, where normal wet tissue cannot remove bacteria, in contrast to Weltouch inside wet tissue, which are able to eliminate bacteria drastically. And you need to know that Weltouch inside wet tissue is made from 100% biodegradable material and is also safe for the human body, because it can decompose bacteria with photocatalyst effect. The last experiment, we did a test on a previously dirty palm. At this time, the test is divided into left and right palms. Each palm was tested with 2 ultra snaps. The results of the bacteria test on the palm of the left hand were 3,449 bacteria. And test the bacteria on the palm of the right hand, there are 1,198 bacteria present. Both palms are cleaned with each tissue. Normal wet tissue for the right palm and Weltouch inside wet tissue for the left palm. After cleaning, the test is carried out again on both palms. First, an ATP test was performed on the right palm. The test results proved that there were 1,124 bacteria present. Then the next ATP test on the palm of the left hand. The test results proved that there were 33 bacteria present. It is proven that normal wet tissue can only remove a very small number of bacteria, in contrast to Weltouch inside wet tissue, which can remove bacteria drastically. Summary of the overall tests conclude that normal wet tissue cannot remove bacteria, viruses or fungals that sticks to the surface of the items. Weltouch inside wet tissue is a liquid that can help to remove bacteria, viruses, and fungals, which has been proven by several ATP tests. Therefore, we, Clean and Well Pack Indonesia, have conducted a series of ATP tests on several objects on the dog's body. The first test is conducted on all 4 dogs' paws. We do a dog paw test after walking the dog in an open area. The first test results on the 4 paws of the dog have 525 the amount of ATP. This proves that there are organisms living on the surface of the feet. In this test, we made a comparison between regular wet tissues and Weltouch inside towel for the 2 front paws. First, we rub the right paw using regular wet tissues, followed by rubbing Weltouch inside towel on the left paw. Sampling is conducted on the right paw first. The test results showed the presence of ATP on the right paw totaling 853. Of course, this is quite a high result. Then we continued with the ATP test on the left paw. The test results showed that the ATP decreased drastically to 27. Not only with wet tissues, we also tested it with regular tissues and Weltouch inside towel. First, we rub the right hind paw using a regular tissue. Followed by rubbing Weltouch inside towel on the left hind paw. Then the sampling is conducted on the right hind paw first. The test results showed the presence of ATP on the right hind paw totaling 618. Of course, this is quite a high result. We continued with the ATP test on the left hind paw. The test results showed that the ATP decreased drastically to 79. In this test, it can be concluded that Clean and Well Pack Indonesia's product, namely Weltouch inside towel dry or wet, has been proven to reduce bacteria drastically. In addition to feet that are susceptible to bacteria, dog ears are also very susceptible to bacteria and can cause germs. For that, we do an initial ATP test to see the presence of organisms or bacteria in the dog's ear. The results of the first test on the ear had a very high amount of ATP, 2223. This proved that there were organisms living in the dog's ear. Then we applied Weltouch inside towel to rub the dog's ears. Rubbing is done repeatedly to ensure that all parts of the ear are covered with Weltouch inside towel. After cleaning using Weltouch inside towel, we proceeded to conduct an ATP test on the ear. The test results showed that ATP decreased drastically to 21. And this proved again that Weltouch inside towel were very effective at eliminating bacteria. Next, we tried to do a test on dog urine. The sample was taken on the side of the couch. The first test results on a couch exposed to dog urine had 578 ATP amounts, proving that there were organisms living on the couch. Then the application of Weltouch inside towel is carried out on the sofa object, rubbed evenly on the part affected by dog urine. Then, the ATP test is conducted again on the side of the couch. The test results showed the number of ATP dropped very drastically to 44. The ATP test is conducted again on floors stained with dog urine. Initial test results on floors exposed to dog urine had a 999 ATP count, proving that organisms were living on the floor surface. Then we applied it with regular tissue. And another ATP test was conducted on the floor surface. The test results showed the number of ATP dropped very drastically to 339. Next, we used Weltouch inside towel to rub the floor surface. Then, the ATP test is conducted again on the floor surface. The test results showed that the number of ATP dropped very drastically to 45. This comparison test proves that Weltouch inside towel is also effective in drastically reducing bacteria. We also conducted an ATP test on the sofa surface. The initial test results showed that there were 1170 ATP on the surface. Of course, this is a very high result. At this time, the test subjects used home clean care and Weltouch inside towel. We mix 10 milliliters of home clean care and 90 milliliters of water in a 1:9 ratio, then soak the Weltouch inside towel into the mixture. Then rub the surface of the sofa evenly with Weltouch inside towel which has been coated with home clean care. Then an ATP test is conducted on the surface of the couch. The test results showed the number of ATP dropped very drastically to 24. The conclusion from this series of tests is that all clean Wellpack products that contain Weltouch inside are very effective at eliminating bacteria, viruses, and fungi.